I would also go ahead and add that uh, there has never been a situation in which states have on their own decided, okay, we're going to adhere to international law and human rights. It's always been a situation in which civil society has to create pressure on those states to fulfill their obligations. And this is true with regards to domestic situations, civil rights of the people that they govern, and also true when we talk about their international legal obligations. So in order to create that pressure, civil society must act in ways that that disrupt the status quo and create material cost. Now, this means that business cannot go on as usual for those states. So that means there's a certain amount of courage, risk, commitment that needs to be that needs to happen with the international solidarity movement. Now, that I'm not saying that that hasn't happened, because there have been people who have experienced their suppression from their own state, as Khalid has mentioned, because they have stood up for Palestine and stood up for the rights of the Palestinian people. But states are not going to come into compliance with international law on their own. There's economic, financial factors, trade agreements where they benefit from their relationship with other colonial states, including the US and Israel and France and Germany and the EU and so on and so forth. And in order to break down those benefits, there has to be enough pressure exerted by the international solidarity movement to make it no longer reasonable or feasible to continue to support a colonial apartheid regime like Israel. And so that means escalating the direct actions in ways that create this pressure. So while the international solidarity movement has been very successful through boycott, there are many businesses that are suffering from the boycott movement and from the divestment. The pressure needs to be escalated in order to get states to impose the arms embargoes and the sanctions, to break the trade agreements, to, for example, kick the Israeli ambassador out of Canada, to close down the Israeli embassy in Canada, to reverse or to end reciprocal visa privileges. This is a privilege that is granted from a bilateral agreement between states. That means that, you know, we have this diplomatic relationship where I allow your people to come to my country and you allow my people to come to your country. So these kinds of things are the things that need to happen in order for Israel to be further, the Israeli regime to be further isolated, and start the breakdown of those relationships.
Eh,